Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fire Up. Are we fired up, gentlemen?
Yes, we are.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm here.
There you go. That was your dog check.
That's exactly why I did it. Yes, I am fired up as always. Time to talk sports around the world, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do this. So, my first topic. This bothers me, and I don't know how they should solve it, but last night I was watching hockey. Watching the Panthers Bruins game. Now, this game, if you like fights, it was great. But really, as many fights as they had, as many people as they were taking off the ice, my thing is the game was already that game was awesome, Joshua. Yeah. My issue with that game is obviously the Panthers were up on the Bruins. Then there's all these fights and all these guys were taking out 10-minute penalties where they didn't even have 10 minutes left in the game. So my question is in the playoffs, should the penalties carry over to the next game? Because I think that might deter some of those penalties. What do you guys think?
I think so because you know what, Candy, they carry suspensions over. I mean, like for instance, if you're tossed out of a baseball game, correct me if I'm wrong. When you go into the next game or something, they'll have you sitting out an inning or two or something, or they'll give you some kind of suspension or punishment. I've seen them do that. So if baseball does it, why can't hockey do that? I mean, that makes a lot of sense there. It does because maybe it'll deter that at the end of the game. And we're fighting and arguing. I mean, come on, it's over. Game's over. Go home. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, I'm going to go along a little bit with rocket scientist and Joshua Dorr here. You shouldn't carry it over because hockey has always had fighting involved. It is a major part of the sport. Yes, they frown upon it. Yes, the penalties are longer now, but it's hockey. I'm still waiting to go to a boxing match and have a hockey game break out. Because we know darn well you can go to a hockey game and have a boxing match break out at any time. All it takes is one bad hit, one bad move, one bad hook, whatever. Will Vogel in the chat. How about that? So,
hello, Will.
Hockey is hockey, and fighting will always be a part of it. When it's time to throw hands, they throw hands.
I understand. I'm just asking the question because
Oh,
what I saw last
agree with
night
you on
was
that.
fight after fight after fight, and the game was at that point done. They were,
Yes.
I mean, it was just pent up frustration. I'm guessing. Well,
Yeah, if
it's
they're going to call a foul or they're going to call some kind of, roughing call or whatever it is that they call there in hockey, how it goes. If they're going to call that at the end and they see there's some fighting going on, I would be in favor of them carrying it over to the next game. As soon as the game starts, put them in the penalty box. I mean,
yes,
I don't see,
Joshua. The Bruins were salty. I mean, but the same could be said.
Bruins
The
always
Panthers
fight.
were salty the game before.
Yeah, the Bruins, they're always causing fights. They've done that for years, you know. So
Rocket Science says, "Sorry, Ralph,
I'm
you were
wrong.
wrong." That's okay. Hey, that's why we have this platform so that we can
That's
all
right.
voice
Hey,
our
I've been wrong
opinions.
before, but I've been more right than wrong. So there you go.
Hey, you know what? At any time, any one of us can be wrong. Opinions are meant to be different. Opinions
Yep.
are meant to be opinions.
That's
Sometimes
it.
they're great, sometimes they stink. It's just like your butt. Well, give us a dog check then. All right. You want another one? You got one.
And Panthers didn't get whooped as bad. The score didn't tell the true tale of the first game compared to the second game. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Rangers are up on my Carolina Panthers 2-1 in the fourth or in the third.
You'd be a Penguins fan.
I'm sorry.
I thought you'd be a Penguins fan.
I am, but I'm also a Carolina fan. I love Raleigh. I love Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place.
Someday I
Well,
want to
then-
move down there as soon as, I got business up here I got to keep going with here. But I got some friends down there that can get me moving down there if I need to.
So, Jeremy, Lions GM, golf extension is high priority. Are they taking it to the next level? Are they going to get it done or are they not?
Here's the thing. Brad has said it was a priority to try and get a deal done with Goff, but at the same time, the way he words it is different than with the way they worded about Goff last offseason. If you go back to last offseason, Goff is the man. He's the future of Detroit. Even though he said it was a high priority, he didn't add that Goff is the future of Detroit. Those are key words that are missing from all this statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are trying to get a deal done. They hope they get a deal done. I mean, I read all the words of that interview and I paid attention to it very closely because when I'm following our Lions, it's important that I look at it from both sides of what's being said. It sounds like he wants to get an extension done, probably 2 to 3 years. The thing is Goff wants a payday this season. All of that hinges on whether it really gets the Cam Sutton's contract actually gets voided or not. And I think with the way that the free agency and spending big money just basically halted after the Ziegler signing, which was basically the same day that they had to dismiss Cam Sutton. If you've got 20 million over what you got to spend on your rookies, and there's guys out there that said they're willing to play less than their actual market value, like Xavier Howard and stuff like that, and they haven't made those moves, and people are making moves all around us, getting stuff and trading for stuff. There's a reason that's not done, because if that's not voided, his $12.5 million cap hit stays on the roster, even though he's off the team. And there's an additional $7.5 million in dead cap hit. That's a $20 million hit, which means all they have enough for are prove-it players and the rookie contracts. So I'm at a catch-22. I think that's what they're waiting on, because Goff's agent wants him to get a raise this year from the 31.5 he makes, even though this is the last year of his contract. And if that doesn't get voided, we don't have the money to give it to him. So I think it's all going to hinge on that decision coming from the NFL.
I see.
Okay, what happened to the hockey talk, Joshua? And have to go back to let's get back to the hockey talk. That was an excellent question to start the show, Kane. Thank you. Joshua, I think that calls for a bag of broccoli. Well, to be honest with you, broccoli is one of my favorite vegetables. And Joshua, you know where I live, so I expect a bag to be delivered. Thank you, Candy. Yes. So one of the things I'll go back to a little bit of hockey talk, because I'm going to talk about when we went up to the draft. After we went to the draft, we went to Niagara Falls. For those of you that know, after that, we went up to Toronto. When we were in Toronto, we went to the old Maple Leafs stadium that was built back in 1931.
Wow.
And what was really cool is they converted that stadium into one of the floors is a grocery store. The first level, the street level, is a grocery store. And there's actually still center ice. They have a mark in one of the aisles that actually has what was center ice. And then the floors above it have become a college. And so floor 2 has the basketball court. Floor 3, 4, and 5 are classrooms and stuff like that. And floor 6 is actually they raised the ice up to that level, kept the still stadium seating, and they have national championships in Toronto up there, and they hold that regularly. So I thought that was cool. So yes, I can talk a little bit of hockey. We know, am I as well versed in hockey as some of the other sports? No, but hockey talk now. Well, rocket scientists, Rangers are up 2-1. Who's going to win the series?
No, I hope Carolina can. That's all I can say.
Rangers have been pretty tough this season, though.
Yeah, I'm not a Rangers fan. Never have been.
Rocket scientist has a question for you, Ralph. Oh, wait, here it is. Here it is. Question for Ralph: are you really Will Vogel's
Asked me this
father?
question before. No, I'm not Will Fogel's father. No, unless there's a chance I am, and I don't know.
You have the hockey experts here, Josh and the guys. It's the Carolina Hurricanes, not the Panthers, Ralph. So
I said Hurricanes. There you go.
Yeah. So okay. I'm gonna get something off my chest because this has been bothering me, and I know you guys probably doesn't matter if you want to comment or not. There is a story coming out of Wellington, Florida. And if you know anything about Wellington, Florida, it is kind of a higher rent district. It's not the Boca Raton of Florida, but it's up there. And I am shocked and very, very disappointed. Over the weekend, there in a community, there is a family of 4 kids and the parents, and they have a basketball hoop. You know those basketball hoops that you can move around. It's not stationary. You can move it from place to place so your kids can play. Well, one of the families had this. One of the girls was out shooting baskets, and unfortunately, they moved the basketball hoop too close to the neighbor, and so the ball kept landing in the neighbor's yard. Dad went over to get the ball. Neighbor comes out, irate, upset, goes back. They have words, they exchange words. Neighbor goes back in the house, comes back out with his gun, shoots Dad in front of the kids. Mom hears the shot from in the house, comes out, neighbor shoots the mom. So now we have 4 kids that do not have any parents. What is this world coming to? I honestly, a basketball lands in your yard, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the lives of these parents. I cannot believe it. It is irate. I'm just irate. I'm really upset about it. There is a GoFundMe page. I do not know the family per se.
Right.
But it's just sad that this is what the world has come to, and we think we have no respect for people.
You want to see something, kid? You watch A&E's Neighborhood Wars, and you'll see some of what these neighbors get into in these different towns. And, it's really sad because, like, here, I'll give you an example. I live in a public housing building here in Pittsburgh, okay? And I had 2 ladies who were outside last night at 4:00 in the morning, drunk, screaming, playing music, all that stuff. My wife was up all night because of it, okay? Now, if I go and I talk to them, they're going to get ignorant with me. I've tried to talk to some people in here about some things, like one guy had a loud motorcycle, and he threw the F-bomb at me and threatened he was going to do bodily harm to me. I had to call the police. I had to file a report because he threatened me. That's harassment. All I was trying, again, Candy, I've tried this numerous times with everybody everywhere. Let's talk about it, but nobody wants to do that anymore. So their means of talking is shooting, and that's what happens. And it's sad. It really is. I agree with you. That's a sick story. And, it's really sad to hear that this is where we are.
So, Joshua, you didn't hear about that, but then it looks like you looked it up, and you literally live 10 minutes from that house. It is
Wow.
sad.
That is. That's very sad.
You're talking about somebody who lived in a town that out of the last 20 years, they were number 1 as the murder rate per capita.
Wow.
over the last 16 of the 20 years, and that's Flint, Michigan. 3 of them has been Saginaw. 1 was Detroit. And now the murder rate per capita has jumped so much because of the strict gun laws. It's Chicago beating us now. Kalamazoo is up ahead of us in crime rate because of the methadone problem down there.
Well, our crime rate is because we got a shortage of police. They can't get nobody to, to be an officer. We're down 200 officers.
It's everywhere though, really.
Yeah.
There's not enough police when you look at the police per capita, because it used to be for about every 50 to 100, which 100 is a capita, correct? Is that not what it
Right.
was?
Mm-hmm.
It used to
Yeah.
be every 100, there was 2 cops for that area. They weren't always in the same car either, which made it easier for them to patrol those areas. Now you got 1 cop trying to cover for 500. That's 5
Yeah.
capita for 1 police in all these major cities, because it's hard to find cops that want to do the job and put their lives on the line anymore. That's what's happened. The old guard of the people that stayed for 40 years in the police force are no more. They stay
No.
about 10 to 20 years, and once they get tired of it, they're out.
Jeremy, the George Floyd thing did not help police. That's as
No.
simple as that.
No.
Because now, police are under a microscope too much. You got too many cell phone cameras out there. You got, there's a camera everywhere. You can't even walk down the block and there's not a camera. So everybody, there's too many cameras, too much to see everything, and a policeman can't do his job. So I
Right.
mean, unless you're in
Everybody
a small borough or something, or a small town,
everybody chops up those videos to where they just show the bad. They don't show what
they
leads
don't
up.
show the good in
They
it.
don't
Right?
they don't show the argument or what happened or what type of attitude that was coming into that situation. Now,
No, right.
the George Floyd situation, it is what it is. It's no different than what happened in Ferguson. And what's crazy is I was actually a traveling warranty tech person for a technological company. I would go and fix servers, satellite internet, and everything else. And while on the news, I go into my hotel room and I'm watching the news. I just drove into town and they're showing fires and riots everywhere. I could see my hotel in the background. There's no fire around me. And I'm trying to figure out, well, where's this fire? So I went and drove around. I didn't see it. I never saw a fire. I never
So
saw
you're
a
thinking
riot. I never saw
the video
throwing
was put on
bricks
there
at the
just to
store.
make news for them to put something
And
on. Yeah.
I still think 100% that it was a wag the dog thing. Look over here. This is all really bad while we do this. And you saw a whole bunch of laws that we never heard about or got to vote on that got pushed through. I will not say the acronym there because I am an all lives matter. We are all one race, the human race. We all have, there's just different
Yes.
skin pigmentations and ethnic backgrounds. That's it. Everybody's raised differently. And say what you want. The government is the cause of 99% of everything. Because as soon as all the big medias became owned from left wing and right wing, they've all give misappropriation news about the other side. But if you actually read both sides of it, you'll come to a conclusion in the middle. What is the real truth?
Correct. Okay. So I know the guys are talking, they want hockey back. I want to go another route. So, what do you guys think about the Indianapolis columnist who now won't cover Clark because or the Fever after the awkward exchange that they had in her initial press conference? Have you guys heard about this?
No, I didn't hear about it
I
at
didn't
all.
hear all of it. No.
I
So,
just keep hearing about how many points she scores every game.
yes. Well, basically, what happened is during the when they introduced her, One of these writers made the heart shape like, we all do, but that's a gesture that Clark is known for making at her family members. The exchange that followed was Clark says, "You like that?" Doyle says, "I like that you're here and I like that you're here." Clark says, "Yeah, I do that for my family after every game, so it's pretty cool, right?" He said, "Well, start doing it to me and we'll get along just fine."
Ooh.
Whoa.
I'm like, "What? What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, this is something she does to her family." And now, yes, Joshua Dorr, we are talking about this because there is more than just hockey, and we've already talked a little bit about hockey. So this columnist now supposedly was suspended for two weeks, and he will no longer cover the Indianapolis Fever.
Wow. That's crazy. That's nuts. Oh my.
Media needs to be put in check every now and then. A
Yes.
lot of media, a lot of writers, a lot of reporters, a lot of talking heads on TV push things and push narratives too far. And kudos to her for standing up for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But what he did is wrong.
That's unacceptable.
That would be like me if, let's say, at the draft, I tried to get Terry on to answer a question and he didn't answer it. That would be like me saying, well, I'm not going to cover the Lions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the same thing.
Yep.
Some people do not have the common sense to get out of their own damn way.
No, they don't.
Right.
Yeah, we got a sports guy here who has a talk show, like you said, Jeremy. Some of them, and he says some things that are derogatory, and he says things about people that are just obnoxious. And he has an audience because people like that. Okay, he's like Howard Stern of sports. He the old Howard Stern, not the current Howard Stern, the old Howard Stern of
The old
sports.
offensive Howard Stern.
Yeah, exactly. So he just, he does what he does, and he's vulgar, and he still does it, and that's his style. We all have styles. I have a style. You have a style, Jeremy, how you do things. So does Candy and Scott and everybody else. You know, my style is my style. I tell it like it is. People don't like it. That's too bad. You know, I got politicians in this town that won't come on my podcast because I don't like the fact I ask them tough questions. So there you go. I got a radio station in this town that won't hire me because I ask tough questions, and I tell it like it is. And they want me to just go with the company line, and I'm not doing it. I'll stay here and do this.
Yep.
Joshua Dorr brings up a good point. In Boston, a journalist called for them to hurt Kachuk in the next game. That's no different
No,
than when a player does get hurt in a game, when the other team says, well, we need to hurt one of theirs the next game. It's no different. And if a reporter's telling a team to hurt a player on the opposite team, they're wrong.
absolutely.
You're not playing the sport. You're not being a sportsman. If you
not
want to
at all.
beat the team, you want to beat them when they're healthy. Because what does it say if you can't beat them when they're healthy and you're going to take them out?
Exactly. Yeah, that's unacceptable too.
And Ralph, don't ever comply. Be who you are. Ask
I
the
am. That's I don't care if politicians in this town don't want to come on my show. I could care less. That just goes to show that they're cowards. They don't like the fact I ask tough questions. It's too bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing I'll talk about it after the show with you for a second.
Okay.
Never mind. I don't want to get into that. But yes, I salute you, sir, for standing up for yourself and your beliefs.
Yep. How about
when Charles Barkley gets arrogant on TNT?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but that's been his attitude his entire life.
That's his style.
He's not going to change who he is for
No.
anybody, whether it's TV, whether it's on the news, whether it's in person. He is arrogant, actually. And you know what? That's why he got to where he's at. They like that opinion.
Hey, he makes more money than we do.
Oh yeah.
And as long as people watch it, he's going to make money.
I believe he's watching in the background somewhere.
Well, there you go.
Tune into your show.
Absolutely, rocket scientists. I appreciate you guys being there. You guys help drive the chat.
We love all this chat. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yes. Right now, Rangers Hurricanes is going into overtime. They are tied 2-0 at the end of the third. So.
Oh man, again.
And Joshua Dorr is exactly right. There's a big difference between arrogance and being a piece of crap.
Mm-hmm. And Dallas is about to start. Yep. So, Jeremy, any other topics you want to bring up besides your town?
There really isn't a lot going on, but there is something I noticed in the draft, and I don't know if you noticed this, Candy. Day 3, you saw a lot more of these skilled players going that had special teams value, whether it was tacklers or more returners or stuff like that. Every team picked at least one in day 3. I think that in response to the new kickoff rules and how they have to be played, because people needed surer tacklers in the special teams room than what they needed originally. And I think that's a huge thing that's going to be going on. You're going to see a lot more late round picks make teams on special teams.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, here we go. They're asking for the dog check. They want you to give the big bark this time, Ralph.
Oh, I don't bark. I don't know.
Okay, I got you.
Here, wait a minute. Here, I will give him something here. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Give him the horn. And then, of course, when the right team scores.
Oh, you guys are funny.
We are. Hey, I was always told I was an unemployed comedian.
He goes, you don't need to bark. Just shout out dog check.
That's it.
Ralph, they just want you to say dog check.
Dog check. There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Dog check. Ow, dog check.
As far as the media guys telling teams to hurt other players, I'm going to give you a sound that should be very familiar. It's right at the end of Mario.
Are you all going to do an NFL draft team grade show? I hadn't thought about that, but that's an idea, Andrew.
That's why I'm trying to bring more people like Ralph, who covers the Steelers, on the next week's Wednesday show. I'm trying to get a few more fans of other NFL. I've done them before on his show.
Well, that's what I'm doing on my show, on my radio show, and I'm going to try to get it done before the end of June. I'm having somebody come on from all 32 teams to talk about different things throughout the year.
Any time of day, I would love to be there if I can.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'd ask you. Yeah, I've had George Eichhorn on already. George talked about Detroit Lions when he was on. So.
And Joshua, I don't know that Scott would be pissed. Scott runs a different show than I do. In fact, he will gladly tell you that I run a country club like show and he's more of a drill sergeant. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
But that's why these work, you know?
He's the general and we're the privates and the corporals that are just we're like Bill Murray and the other guys on stripes.
Oh yeah. That's the fact, Jack.
There we go.
That's the fact, Jack. In the last hour, I have just lost my car, my apartment, my job, and my girlfriend.
I love that line.
And then Harold Ramis goes, well, you still have your health, you know.
Didn't he pick up a beer and go, "That's debatable," and drank it just before
Yeah.
the apartment? There we go.
Okay, okay, guys, it's time, I think, for my town. Ralph,
This
you
is
want
my
to start?
Yeah, Miss Montgomery Gentry. This is my town. But anyway, yeah, this Saturday we have our number one pick from last year, Paul Skeens. He's going to be pitching. He makes his debut this Saturday. The Pirates had to basically bring him up. We need our starting rotation has actually been pretty good. Our bullpen's been letting us down, and there's been some hitting issues. There's talk about firing a name you might know, Candy, and Andy Haynes. So they're talking about firing him. And then this past week, the Penguins fired assistant coach Todd Reardon. Reardon was in charge of the power play and the defense, and those were the two areas of the team that stunk. So they got rid of him. Don't know who they're going to bring in. Don't know what the season's going to look like yet because Kyle Dubas is kind of keeping it hush hush. Steelers, on the other hand, had an opportunity to get two top-notch receivers, and they blew it. It laid a big egg. Tyler Boyd and Odell Beckham Jr., and neither one of them they bothered to sign. And then here's the bottom line of it all: the Steelers are so cheap that the Tennessee Titans gave Tyler Boyd a $4.5 million contract. You mean to tell me that the Steelers couldn't pay him that? Well, here's what the Steelers said. Oh, well, he's not worth second receiver money. He didn't even want second receiver money. Okay. And then now they're saying that the Steelers were getting gouged for $8 million. Well, why did he take 4.5 with Tennessee? Was he desperate? Why didn't he do that with the Steelers and stay home? I pass this house all the time when I go to my sister's place. Okay. So thanks, Steelers, for not bringing in a top-notch receiver and going with Roman Wilson from Michigan. That's about where we're going to be with a second wide receiver. So, but I hear Omar Khan has a big trade coming up, so we'll see what happens there as well.
Oh, it looks like
And that's my town.
Traylon Burks, though.
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
Might get Trey Burks from the Titans since he's on the trade block.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Omar Khan's up to something. So
somebody asked me on the Lions chat, would I be willing to trade for Trey Burks? He's a failed first round pick at this point. If you look at his drop rate, it's very similar to what Eric Ebron had.
Right.
Which at 30% drop rate, I'm not interested in.
No.
You can't be a tall contested catch guy that can't catch.
Exactly.
So I would say if it was a 7th rounder and you get to give him a prove it deal on his last year of his rookie contract and don't accept the 5th year, I'd be good with it. That's about it.
We traded Deontay Johnson to Carolina for a 6th-round pick.
But
so
you
there you go.
That 6th-round pick too. I saw that.
Yeah, we did. Yes.
But at the same time, in Detroit, let's talk about the Tigers right now and how everybody's complaining because they have a .216 batting average right now, but they're winning games late. The problem is they don't get their batting going early in the games. They're not putting up any crooked numbers before the 4th inning. They're not getting any of those until the 5th through 9th innings. But league-wide, the batting average across the league is .230. So if you think about that, they're actually a middling team batting average-wise. The highest team, of course, is the Dodgers because they got Shohei Ohtani, who's batting over 300 and raising the team batting average over 280.
Until they hit the playoffs.
Until they hit the playoffs, exactly. Or until Shohei Ohtani blows out his UCL again, and then he's done.
Yeah.
Because I know they're not using him throwing, and that's probably good to heal that, but he's still batting, and you use some of those same muscles that are attached to those ligaments, and it has to be doing a strain on his rehab because he is leading the league in home runs right now. So with the Tigers, I think they need to send Spencer Torkelson, former number 1 pick, who hasn't hit a single home run when he hit 31 last year, down to AAA to work with the hitting coach again. Because evidently the hitting coach that's at Detroit isn't doing jack diddly squat.
Okay.
There we go.
Joshua, I'm glad you're still staying up, even though it's only because of the overtime. We appreciate that. RXJ, thank you. I appreciate you saying you like the way I run the show. Ralph, they have a question for you. What was for dinner tonight?
I had two chicken wraps from Arby's because my wife and I were on the way home from my doctor's appointment, and it was late, and I didn't feel like cooking when I got home. So I had two chicken wraps from Arby's. I don't eat as much as I used to because I'm trying to get my weight down. I need several surgeries.
And Joshua, no, Scott did not get KFC. I am trying to get him his numbers better and get us more on a healthier track. So we kind of went Atkins style. We went hamburger meat with cheese and some taco seasoning, and I think he had a Rice Krispie bar for a treat at the end, but no KFC. We're both trying to shave off a couple of pounds.
Oh, there you
Joshua
go.
says, "Thank you, go Ralph." So as for my town, Joshua and all the guys that wanted hockey talk, I'm actually going to talk hockey. And it's not the Florida Panthers. I'm going to talk about the Milwaukee Admirals. And can anybody in the chat room tell me what team they're affiliated with? But while I'm talking about that, they are actually they won a must-win game last night, taking down the Texas Stars in game 3 to force a game 4 of the Central Division semifinals. In that game, there were 11 penalties called, including a game misconduct and major on the Admirals. In total, 53 penalty minutes were assessed for both teams. You're not familiar with them, but interested. Joshua, they happen to be the Nashville Predators team affiliates. So they used to be the Chicago Blackhawks, and then they were affiliated with another team, but for years now they have been associated with the Nashville Predators
Since 1998.
since 1998. AHL.
Yep, the
Gosh.
AHL. That's the American Hockey League, correct? If I remember right. The OHL is the one that covers that western side, Quebec, Windsor, Toronto area, and Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah, our AHL team is Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
And they're playing for the Calder Cup. That's what it's called for AHL. AHL, and they're in the semifinals at this point.
And we have two teams close to me in the OHL. That would be the Saginaw Spirit and the Flint Firebirds.
So they play tomorrow night. And they played in Milwaukee last night. So who is still in? Let's see. Well, I can tell you Texas is playing the Admirals. I'm not sure I know who else is in it. Let's see.
Yeah, they're playing the Texas Stars, and the other team, it doesn't mention it.
Let's see. AHL playoffs, Panthers. Let's see.
Then there's I don't know if they're in it. There's the Coachella Valley Firebirds. That's the newest team to the AHL. The oldest team is the Bears out of which was formerly the Rochester Americans.
OT1 has started. Okay. Well, you can do more on the American Hockey League 2024 Calder Cup playoffs. I do know the Admirals won it all in 2004, I believe was the last time.
There's one in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Providence, Grand Rapids, Lake Erie, San Antonio, Houston, Charlotte, Toronto, Rochester, New York, St. John's, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton,
Right, that's the one for the Penguins. Yep.
Manchester, Milwaukee, Norfolk, Syracuse, Hamilton, Bridgeport, Texas, Peoria, Rockford, Connecticut, Portland, Worcester. However you say it, I don't know. I hate that word. But anyway, Adirondack, Springfield, Albany, Abbotsford, Binghamton, Oklahoma City. And then they have,
Toronto's got a team too called the Marlies.
yep, I have mentioned Toronto.
Okay. And then the Cleveland Monsters.
I believe that's the Wilkesboro Scranton because that is a suburb of the Cleveland one. It just says the cities where they're at.
Yeah, Wilkes-Barre Scranton's in PA. That's up there by Williamsport. That's where Joe Biden is from.
So Cleveland here. That's weird.
So, Joshua, I've been to many, many Milwaukee Admirals games. In fact, one of my good friends had season tickets for years. So, the Admirals have always been a favorite of mine since we didn't have an actual NHL.
Rangers won in overtime.
Oh, come on, man. Really?
Yep.
Jeez.
Does that put the Canes down like 2-0?
Yeah, we need. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, exactly. We need the Penguins need the Canes to win because if they win and go to the Stanley Cup, then what'll happen is the Penguins will get their number one draft pick back. If they
Right.
don't, San Jose gets it.
Oh, they're down 3-0 now. Nobody.
Jeez.
I think only one team in the last 15 years came back from 3-0.
Yeah. It was the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Penguins did it a couple times in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Detroit, and the other time it versus New Jersey.
Yes.
I know a little hockey.
You do. Okay, guys. I think it's time to let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. Ralph, you're up first.
I have my own YouTube channel, Ralph Williams /RW Media. I have several shows that I have on there. Also, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on Tumblr, and I'm also on Twitter X platform. And also, I have my own radio show until June 25th of 2024 here. It's called Sports Corner Radio Show every Tuesday with myself and Smoke and Jim Frazier. And we are 4 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio in Beaver County in Western Pennsylvania.
Smoking Jeremy B. Joshua has a question for you before you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
Once when I was in Joe Louis, because the guy next to me said, you gotta. But other than that, you can find me right here on the South Florida Tribune on Inside the Pigskin, Pundits, Fire Up, and eventually Professor and the Pupil once we go live again. You can also find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions on YouTube. You can find it also with its own podcast page on Facebook through my profile and also on Twitter, Smoking Jeremy B. Last but not least, you can find my writings about the Detroit Lions and the NFL on the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading.
Hey, Jeremy, did you see the pic I sent you with me and Charlie Batch?
I did see that.
Yeah, that was at a draft party that I was at.
Joshua, we appreciate you coming in and being in the chat room. Yeah, it's time for bed. It's almost time for us too. We're signing off here very shortly.
Yes.
Scott, my husband, wrote a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is available on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Books. Audio version we are still working on. But if you enjoyed this show and you see a little red subscribe button, that means you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel. I do not understand why you haven't done it yet, but please click it, like us, and share our channel with all of your friends. If you like baseball talk, we have a baseball show on Monday nights. Football, we talk Tuesday nights. Wednesday nights, Sports Exchange. You never know what sport we're going to be talking about. The same with here on Fire Up. You never know what we're going to be talking about. In fact, we've even talked about non-sports topics too on here. So
Yes, we
that's
did.
what I like about the show. It's all over the map. And of course, I get to run it. So it's, the country club version. Preceding us was Pundit's Pundit. Tonight we had an excellent guest. His name is Joel Franco. He is from Where Our Children Play, and they talk about how he has developed an organization that mentors kids and helps kids with not just sports, but learning how to be more nutritious, how to exercise, how to prep their bodies, and just a very good organization. They're also coming out with a movie that will be coming out soon. But if you like our show and you like listening to podcasts, you can listen to our show wherever you get your podcasts. iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, all the regular ones, Castbox, Deezer. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. We just launched a merchandise yesterday, so you can go to our site. It's about the middle of the front page. Click the link. Right now, there's a 20% off. I believe it's the first month, and we just launched it yesterday. So you can buy a T-shirt, you can buy a sweatshirt with our logo on it. You can get a hat, baseball cap, stadium seats, seating. You can get shorts, T-shirts, kids, women, men's. Go check out our line. We have logos for South Florida Tribune and for Motor City Madmouth. Go to our website, read Jeremy's writings, read Scott's writings, look at my pictures. No, it's not a picture of me. I take pictures of people.
He's a photographer, people. Don't think dirty.
Ever.
Oh, rocket scientist, thank you. Thank you for all the people that were in the chat room tonight. We really appreciate you tuning in and chatting and asking us questions, because we're here for you and we really appreciate all that you bring to the show. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
Jeremy,
you.
you want to end us like you always do?
Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love to everybody in the chat. Joshua Dorr, RXJ, Will Vogel, Rocket Scientist. You guys all rock. Thank you for being here. I think I even saw Andrew Merklinger pop in. Is Undone popped in on the previous show, so I got to give a shout out to him.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, everybody. We will not have a show next week. Scott and I are headed to Detroit, and we fly back on Thursday. So we will be on a plane, I think, about this time. So everybody have a good night. I'm sorry?
Quick trip.
Yep, we're gonna hopefully see the Miami Marlins are coming up to Detroit, and so we figured we'd cover them up there and kind of see another ballpark. When we were up in Toronto, we actually got to see the Kansas City Royals play the Toronto Blue Jays, so we kind of like taking in different ballparks. And not that we haven't been to Comerica, but it's a chance to see family too. So
Is that still the Sky
there you
Dome floor?
it is, yes.
Okay. I was just making sure. It's renovated though, so it's a little different now. It does it have a roof now? Oh,
It
well,
does.
retractable.
Yes.
Okay, because that's what they did was they removed the old dome and put in one of those retractables, wasn't it? So they can actually get sunlight during the day game, as long as
Yes.
it's not raining.
And I will say, it was the first time I've ever been in a ballpark where the writers and the press box is actually in the outfield.
Wow.
TV and radio are right behind home plate, but because they wanted more, let's face it, baseball is a business and they're not making money by the writers. So they put the writers out in the outfield and they put more boxes in behind home plate so they can get more money. It's money driven, let's face it. Okay, guys, but this has been fun. We will see you in 2 weeks. Be back
Have
in
a
2.
great one, folks. Thank you.
Thanks, you too. Good
Peace,
night,
love.
everybody.